All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to a special edition. Youper Farmer. We're in the pool. That's right. Once a year, we go into the pool to have a cigar, have a beer, have a bit of a conversation. What are we smoking? What are we drinking tonight? Tonight's actually a very, very, very special night for multiple reasons. The cigar tonight is from the Downtown Smoking Club of Lansing. That's right. This could be my last cigar, I think, from them. Hopefully, I don't have a reason to go back down to Lansing to get more. Different video for that one. Very fun cigar. It has 3 different wrappers, going to give you 3 different flavors. Connecticut, green, Maduro. I can't remember the name of that one right there, but it's even darker. So, good cigar. Can't wait. And the beer. I actually like this one. Good job to Dragon's Milk, Crimson Keep, Bourbon Barrel Aged Red Ale. If you guys know, I did go on a whole kick where I went on barrel aged, trying to find one that I'd actually like, because I like Dragon's Milk. They're stout. And we found a lot of crap. But finally, we found that Dragon's Milk did this red. It was actually quite tasty, if I remember correctly. Hopefully they didn't change anything. And I have a bigger cup. I have the Hey Hey cup. No double pour is needed. Look at that. Beautiful head on a beer. Let's give this a try here. Yep, that adds some stuff to it. Some creaminess to it. Some deliciousness to it. Liking it. So anyway, let's get on the topic tonight, because that's one of the reasons I'm also celebrating with one of my last cigars from downtown Lansing and a very nice beer. So as many of you guys know, I am part of a non-denominational Christian Bible study. I do no longer call it a Protestant Bible study, because I believe in what the gentleman was saying, the guy who organized it, I don't want to use his name here, because I don't have permission to do that. But he has finally convinced me that he is not a Protestant. No, he does not protest the Catholic faith. As we've talked about many times together, there are many points that he actually totally agrees with. Of course, there are things he does not agree with. That's because, that's why he's not Catholic. So, and I respect that. We both have a mutual agreement. We're not trying to convert each other. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. Both of us 110% believe that we're both men of God, strong in our beliefs. We just interpret Scripture a little differently. Which, again, I don't see him having many, if any, thing that I would say is 100% a heresy, would keep him from salvation. I just know that not following the Catholic faith as I am taught and from our belief, if you follow the Catholic faith, the path is easier. Where you follow one of these other ones, you can still get to heaven, and I think he will. He's a very Catholic man, or Christian man. He follows Jesus. Definitely, there are many things that he does that I fall short on, and I give him credit and give him praise. I'm going to put this beer can right there so you guys can, well, let's see, put it right, there we go. Give Crimson Keep a little love there, because it's a good beer. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I absolutely envy him. I will not mince words. There's stuff that he does that I wish I could be better at. 100%. So, anyway, we do this Bible study. It is usually very, very casual. Every now and then, the gentleman who runs it will put out a topic. Sometimes other members who come will put out a topic. But I wager to guess 70-80% of the time, it's kind of whatever is on our hearts and minds that we'll start talking about. Every now and then, though, the person who runs it, myself or someone else, will put out a question, put out a video, put out something to talk about. Well, it just turns out there's a video, and I'll try, this time I promise you, I'll try to post it. I think it goes over there. I'll try to post a link to the video. I don't know the gentleman's name. He's a younger guy, Catholic apologist. Asks a bunch of questions, poses, answers, contradictions, talks to heresies. I have a suspicion, based on how young he is, that someone is feeding him the answers. Either this kid grew up with a Jesuit priest as his father, or someone who went to the Jesuitcy, or someone's feeding him the answers. I think someone's writing scripts for him. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'll try to put his video up there. I promise I will this time. I'm really bad with that. But he presented this idea of vindicatory miracles. So basically he was talking about, if we can prove that Eucharistic miracles are true, that then confirms that a lot of things with the Catholic faith must be true. If we can prove that Marian miracles are true, like Fatima or Our Lady of Lourdes or Our Lady of Guadalupe, then that kind of proves that a lot of the Catholic views are true. And he then asked Protestants, again, not for confrontational, just curious, do they have vindicatory miracles? It was kind of an interesting video. I did some research, so I posted that video to the group and said, hey guys, let's talk about miracles. Might be fun, right? So I did some research. I did find out that there are some Protestants, now they didn't respond to his comments specifically, who talk about vindicatory, that style of miracle. Again, that's not actually a Catholic term, which I kind of slight that guy for saying. That's not a Catholic term. That's not something we as Catholics actually designate a miracle as. I know what he was talking about, but it was his made-up term. So anyway, he's talking, or we have some Protestants who talk about how when the Catholic Church was burning books by Martin Luther, his picture reportedly would not burn. Okay, interesting. Now, I didn't dive too deeply into that. Even the commentator said that the evidence for that's a little thin, a little small, but maybe. I've not looked into it. That's the only one I found. I did not find any more Protestant vindicatory miracles. What I did do, though, is dive into the Eucharistic miracles. I watched videos, I read articles about pros and cons and people who say they're true, people who say they're false, because I thought that's where the prayer group was going to go, and I thought it'd be just kind of a fun, tongue-in-cheek, let's just have a little debate about these Eucharistic miracles. Well, I was wrong. There's a part of me that wishes I would have pulled out this camera, pressed record, because we had a solid 3.5, 4 hour long discussion about miracles. And I should have pulled it out. I'm really regret. I'm kicking myself for not pulling out the phone and just pressing record to shoot this as a 4 hour long discussion. Because it got intense. It went to areas that I didn't even think it would go to. And I should have known. So I go there, and there's another older gentleman. Again, I don't want to use his name because I just feel that's wrong. I haven't asked him if I can share his name in the videos. Older gentleman came into his faith a little later in life, to be honest. He shared that with me, and I don't feel that I can't share that with you guys. If he watches this video and feels otherwise, I will take it down, edit it, and pull that out. But the man writes actually religious books. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has 3 to 5. I think it's 3 books, ranging from a whole spectrum of stuff about the religion. So well-read, well-learned man. He really enjoys, I'm forgetting the name of it. Basically, it's one of the earliest translations, a Jewish translation of the New Testament, if I remember correctly. He loves linguistics, loves breaking down the language. Very intelligent guy, loves to be very detailed in his responses. So this gentleman, who again, I'm not going to name him, I'm not going to blast him out there, because again, I don't have permission to. I set down my backpack and I was going to get a cup of coffee. We have coffee and cigars at this Bible study. It's kind of our thing. And he just starts. We start. Usually we start with 30 minutes to maybe an hour of just how's everyone doing? How's your week? How's your day? Random political stories, news stories, things we ask about because we have such a diverse audience of people. So usually we kind of ease ourselves into the leader of the group usually says, well, this is a Bible study after all. Maybe we should jump into the Bible. Or he'll ask, okay, time to get to the Bible study. What has everyone been studying? And we'll go into there from there. Well, this older gentleman, the author, as I'll call him in these videos, he told me, he's like, you're not a nice person. I don't think that's exactly what he said, but that was the kind of the tone. He's like, you caused me to do 6 hours worth of research, studying, writing, and I'm inspired, based on the video you sent and based on the question you asked, to write a series of 3 books. He actually sounded like he had them all planned out in his head, which knowing authors, knowing writers, very possible. He's got 3 books that he wants to write based on the topic I present about miracles. He then immediately dived into theology, dived into Bible verses. What does a Catholic believe? What do I believe? Where do you get that from? What Bible verse does a Catholic use to justify miracles? Luckily, I do know some of that. I've done research on miracles on my own because I've had my own questions about them. It was so sudden. Actually, the leader of this Bible study came out with some delicious iced coffee. I'm not a huge fan of iced coffee, but whatever he does, that was right on. Banger, delicious. This was delicious. Side note. And he even said, he's like, gentlemen, I feel like I've missed the entire conversation. Can we back this up and start over? Like, whoa, what happened? So we both explained that basically, we wanted to jump right in. More so the author wanted to jump in than I did. I wanted to kind of BS. I didn't even have a chance to light my cigar. I smoke a cigar while I'm there. I didn't have a chance to light one up. And I was already answering questions about the Catholic belief in miracles. Now, like I said, every fiber of my being regrets not pressing the record button. We talked about the authority of the church. We talked about authority in general. Who has the authority to deem something a miracle? We talked about, can Satan do miracles? How can we tell if this miracle is godly? If we can't tell it's godly, should we even celebrate a miracle? We talked about, post-apostolic period, there's a strong belief that miracles are all satanic. They're all from Satan himself. We talked about apostolic procession. We talked about the Council of Nicaea. We talked about the church from, AD 30 to 33 to 300. We talked about times I was wrong. Talked about times the leader of the Bible study was wrong. We talked about heresies. We talked about, if you were to pick a time to go through everything, and again, I don't want to say Protestant. He's a non-Catholic, a Christian, non-denominational Christian. Doesn't pick the flavor. He just believes that the Bible is true, but he's willing to listen to some extra biblical text, history books and whatnot, to confirm his beliefs. And he really does enjoy talking and listening to elders and learned people. We even talked about the priesthood and their authority. And if you don't believe in their authority, you still have to admit that, they're an educated person. It's just amazing. Really amazing conversation. We went through everything and literally anything you can think of when it comes to the difference between a non-Catholic and a Catholic. Again, because I have respect for him, I will no longer call him a Protestant because he does not protest the Catholic faith. And I really respect that. And I do agree with him. He'll say there are many things he agrees with the Catholic faith. but he doesn't protest it. So non-denominational Christian, and I'm totally cool calling him that because he's proven his point more than once, as he'll point out. So where did it leave us? I mean, we went everywhere. I still believe in the Catholic definition of a confirmed miracle. Now, what does that mean? Again, there's some biblical evidence. We went over to the Bible study. There's some stuff that we built upon, which kind of got us going through all the ecumenical councils. I will spare you from that because I cannot do it justice. For as a Catholic, we believe that something to be called a miracle from God, one, there is no natural way it could have happened. So one of the guys asked, well, if someone like had a totally crushed leg and like people pray and it heals. I said, well, okay, maybe he had a stem cell storm. Maybe the x-ray was wrong. We can go on and on and on. So as Catholics, we need one more thing. So let's just say, okay, the leg's totally shattered. It heals in 5 seconds. Nothing in nature can do that. We believe that. The one other thing we need to say it's from God is a conversion of faith. So we need people to say, wow, because that happened, I'm now usually going to be Catholic, although after talking to a few people and doing a little more research, I'm at least going to be Christian, right? I'm going to believe in the Christian God, but usually it has to have a conversion of Catholic faith. But from my studies, again, I found out that we sometimes allow it to just be, I'm turning to Christianity. People who were pagans or atheists witness this miracle and they say, wow, based on that, I am now going to believe in Jesus Christ. And there was some discussion back and forth. A lot of them said, well, they don't disagree with that. They do believe that there's other miracles from God. And I said, honestly, I've had many things in my life where I would say, yeah, it's a miracle. God definitely protected me, helped me. But were there conversions hooked to it? No. I shared the one where I was driving up to a religious retreat and just hit the storm of storms. This is the storm of the year. I was going to turn around, but I prayed and said, God, if you want me to go to this, you'll get me there safely. I surrender. I'm not going to be hyper-aggressive in my driving. I'm not going to use my advanced driving skills I got on the ambulance. God, if you want me to do this, you'll get me there safely. I totally relaxed. I untensed. I just sat back. The closest I ever got to Jesus take the wheel, although I still drive and I was still taking my time and I was still being cautious, I made it safely. And it did actually change me. The conference I went to, the retreat I went to, led to many great things in my life and is still building to this day. Was that a miracle? Maybe. It didn't convert me, that's for sure. But, I was pretty miraculous. I made it. And the author, of course, had a very good point. I give him credit. I'll give him credit where credit is due. He's like, the interesting thing about miracles is people are like, well, the miracle of childbirth. He's like, that's just part of nature. And I was like, oh, tell me more. He's like, well, in Genesis, the miracle was God created Adam, right? But Cain and Abel were not a miracle. They were just part of nature, part of the natural process. And that really hit me. I really been thinking about that. He's not wrong. It's the first time it happens, it's a miracle. The second time it happens, it's it's just part of our nature, which kind of shocked me. But he's 100% right. Adam being created was miraculous. Cain and Abel was just nature. And we talked about more examples, of course, but that's the one that biblically I wanted to share because, did that one create a conversion? You could argue it, I suppose, but still miraculous. God created the night and day. Miraculous. The sun rising and setting, that's just part of physics, right? really kind of changed my thoughts on how I think about a few things when it comes to nature versus God, trying to rationalize how both can survive in the world together. Really awesome. So where did it leave us? I wish I could sit here and say they 100% believe nothing but the Catholic way and the Catholic viewpoint. And I'm sure they could wish that I 100% believe in their viewpoints. And granted, there's more than just miracles. We went everywhere. Apostolic procession. We went to the papal authority. We went to the history of the church. And honestly, neither of us expected the other one to like 100% believe or disbelieve one or another. These studies are more for building our own faith and saying, hey, you challenged me. I need to look into this more. It's a beautiful part of this study because it does. It causes me to go deeper into my faith. I admitted to them multiple times. I've been wrong. I thought I knew what the Catholics believed. I did a little research. I talked to a priest. I talked to confidants. And they're like, you're an idiot. That's not what we believe. You just said a heresy. Well, shoot. Didn't mean to do that. So where did it end? We actually all kind of come to a consensus. There are miracles, yes. Miracles that have spiritual conversions are definitely stronger miracles, but that doesn't negate other miracles that happen. We acknowledge that the devil can do miracles, 100%, or signs. We did agree on signs, but a sign can be a miracle. So, yeah, okay. The devil can do signs. I truly believe miracles are signs. We'll just leave it at that. So we do need to be careful and cautious when looking at miracles that we don't give them more authority or more meaning than they actually deserve, because they might not be from God. As Catholics, we have a few tests. Some of the Protestants, the non-Catholics, the non-denominational Christians, also had Bible verses that involved different tests. And for the most part, we aligned. I agreed with what they're saying, and they agreed with what I was saying. We did have that the two gentlemen, both the leader and the author, have agreed that, you know what, they have never been to a Catholic Mass. They want to check it out. Maybe more than once, just so they can kind of really absorb and understand, because to them it is foreign. They've never been to one. Which is awesome. It's great. I'm trying to facilitate this and make it happen because I think, if nothing else, again, it probably won't lead to their conversion, but it'll give them an understanding of what I'm talking about. Because, granted, I am not an apologist. I'm definitely not a theologian. I'm not well-versed in theology. I'm dyslexic. I've never read the Bible cover to cover. So maybe my explanations have been piss poor, which I'll admit. Yeah, I don't do so great. Sometimes explain my faith, explain my beliefs, and as they can attest, and I will openly admit, I've been wrong. One of the best ones I gave them the example. I thought archbishops, cardinals, pope were all different stations of the Catholic Church. In case you didn't know, they're all bishops. They have no more real authority because they're all just still bishops. The only one who has maybe a little bit, arguably, more authority is the Pope because he's the head bishop. But at the end of the day, still a bishop. I didn't know that. I was trying to argue that we had different stations, different levels. No, we just have three. We have deacon, we have priest, and we have bishop. Bishop. Deacon, priest, and bishop, as laid out in the Bible. So, yeah, I was wrong. I'll admit I was wrong. Again, I am imperfect at the best of times. So where does that leave me? Still wanting to learn more, still striving to learn more, wanting to go back to the Bible study, of course. that's just a given. We're going to go back. I do enjoy these gentlemen pushing me and forcing me to learn more and do more. I will definitely be sharing my Catholic views, my Catholic opinions, as I do believe mine is the one true church, but I respect the fact that they believe theirs is the one true church. Can we both coincide? We did agree that, yeah, there's a place where we both can coincide and we both can expect to see each other in heaven in salvation. Now, I'll agree my path is easier and more direct. They argue that their path is more biblical and more direct. But we both admit that, you know what, we both can be saved. And I do believe that. So it was really powerful. It was really awesome. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go enjoy my cigar, enjoy my beer, and I'm going to cool off because it got up to 101 degrees today. And that was in my office. I'm not sure how hot it got outside. I go check the tracker. So stay safe out there. Stay cool. We'll see you in the next one.